Jeffrey wants to start self-improvement. He wants to start doing the hard work. He wants to start making progress. He wants to start going to the gym and feeling good about himself. But he still, after years of bad habits and of misinfluence, feels he doesn't deserve it. He feels he doesn't believe in himself, and that he doesn't deserve to make the progress that he wants. Adonis. Adonis grabs Jeffrey by the shoulder and he tells him that he does deserve it, and that Jeffrey has all the power in the world to reach his goals. But it's about the mindset that he has. A good mindset will help him flourish. So when I was first starting self improvement, for the first probably year, like I'm talking like a long time. This isn't a short time. This isn't like a year ago I was enlightened about this. This was like literally a year and a half, probably, honestly, where I literally just did all of these habits. I did all of these habits of reading, writing, meditating, journaling, like whatever, all of the good habits. And it was good. It felt great. But there was this problem that I had, that whenever I tried to do the stuff like deep work, whenever I tried to progress, because I mean, ultimately, you do self improvement because you want to progress. You want to progress in some form. Whenever I actually progressed, whenever I tried to go talk to somebody who previously I didn't feel like I deserved to talk to, I still didn't feel like I could talk to them. When it came to sitting down doing the work, I didn't feel like I could do it. It felt like it was too hard. And then I started to kind of understand more. And this came from reading more books. I can't tell you guys a specific book. One of the best books I think you can read is The Magic of Thinking Big. But it was from kind of reading more. It's out of more time actually sitting down that I started to understand that it was really just me. I mean, how hard is that going to hit? I mean, let's think about it. I'm doing all this stuff for myself to help me out, and then the thing that's holding me back is myself. Then I started to really journal and started to think to myself, when I was in school, I mean, that you might be able to relate to this. When I was in school, you know, a lot of the times teachers supplement, you know, parents' advice, and parents actually taking care of you because you're always in school. You're in school for 8 hours a day. And I remember how there were so many times that I was a little kid, and I just simply didn't understand a concept, and I didn't get a good grade, and because of this, the teacher, whenever she gave me my paper, like, she almost looked at me with disappointment. Like, how could you not get this if everybody else does? And you know what this does to an individual? I mean, this is basic psychology. You might be able to relate to what I just said, that there was somebody who made you feel a certain way. Maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a friend, where you almost felt like you didn't deserve it. And then now, whenever you are actually given the opportunity to do something, whenever it's basically proven that, if he can do it, I can, you still don't feel like you deserve it. You feel like you don't, you feel like you can't. You have this limited belief that you can't do it. So, how do we actually build a positive mindset? So, first of all, we need to understand, like, what a thought, like, who are you, first of all? Because we know you're not your thoughts. We always hear in these meditation practices, and we always hear in literally all sorts of self-improvement aspects, that you're not your thoughts. But you're also not the thinker. You're not the one who's making the thoughts. Rather, a better way to look at it is that you are the soul who hears the thoughts, who hears the thinker's thoughts. Because you don't make thoughts. You don't make you don't make thoughts, and you're not thoughts. You're rather the one who hears the thoughts. So a lot of the times, the thoughts that you hear naturally are from are going to be negative because of the life that you've lived, because you didn't take chances, because of the influence around you. And so a lot of the times right now, whenever you're trying to improve yourself, it's difficult because, like, you have all of these thoughts coming at you telling you that you can't do it. You don't deserve it. You deserve to just go back. Because let me tell you, these thoughts, they don't want change for you. These thoughts that you have now, they don't want change. And we're not here to tell you to ignore the thoughts. Because frankly, if you try to ignore the thoughts, it's not going to help. Trust me, I've tried. It's not going to. The thoughts will continue to come. Our goal is not to ignore the thoughts, block them off, rather change them. Change them to where instead of it just being all negative thoughts, we try to have more positive thoughts. We're trying to put more influence in our mind. Whenever you might be able to relate to this, where you are outside and maybe somebody gives you a compliment on the way you look. Maybe someone compliments the way that you speak, or someone gives you a really, or like a teacher says, "Wow, that was a really great presentation," or "That was a really good assignment." Excuse me, but that like that positive thought that you had, and then whenever you think back to it, like you feel like almost happy a bit. This is what we're trying to emulate. It's almost gonna sound like I'm trying to talk like your therapist, but really, like in reality, you want to cultivate more positive thinking, that I can do this mindset, because this is something that I failed to do throughout my entire life. I've always had these negative thoughts, these negative things coming at me, telling me that I can't do this, is that I'm less than others, that I won't be able to get this. I don't deserve it. Whenever I started to listen to more of these positive thoughts, that's whenever I actually started to understand that I could do it all along. It was just these things, it's almost like shackles holding me back. So how do we start this? How do we start actually seeing that we have the power to do anything we want? A lot of it comes simply down to just better influence around you. Obviously, watching people who are in similar circumstances as you, or have been in similar circumstances, and you know what? Starting to actually think to yourself, these thoughts, they're going to continue to come, but I see my vision. A lot of it comes down to just visualizing. I know, like, this is going to be something that might seem foreign to you, but you can visualize with me. So close your eyes, and you have this thing called your mind's eye. So you may be thinking to yourself, okay, I don't know what that is. So if your eyes are closed, I want you to think of an animal. It can be any animal at all. Maybe it's an elephant, a tiger, maybe it's a bear. It doesn't matter. You know how you can almost see it with your eyes closed? Your mind just threw thoughts at you, and then all of a sudden now you can see like an elephant or a tiger, or whatever other animal you think of. Just open your eyes. That is visualization. So you're maybe thinking, like, how can you use visualization to help me out with this? So what I want you to start to do, you can put this on your habit tracker, or you can just make it like a thought to have in the morning or at night. I would recommend doing it like in the morning and at night, is to start thinking of, like, let's say everything goes right. Let's say that you have everything that everything goes right. You go to the gym, and then you start to build this massive physique. You start to read every single day. You start that business that you wanted to start. What would it feel like? What would it look like afterwards once you reached it? What would day-to-day life look like? And this doesn't have to be long. Let's just imagine you reach your dream. What does it look like? And you'll start to notice how, like, you start to feel like happy inside. And another thing that is, and so you can do visualization. This is only going to take a few minutes of just visualizing in your mind's eye, just as I showed you with the animal example, is going to be a powerful thing that's actually going to help you feel more connected to this goal that you have. So it's not just something that you wrote on a piece of paper, but rather something that you actually feel deep inside of you. So another thing that has really helped me out, I mean, I might be able to turn the camera to help show you guys, is literally just on my wall. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's really bright light. You see on my wall, I have all of these pieces of paper. I have all of these pieces of paper like just sitting at my wall. I can't. Oh my god. Okay, so you guys understand what I'm talking about. I have those pieces of paper just sitting on my wall of and a lot like for instance like you might if you see something that inspires you the same, then write it down. Feel free to. Step one is take one step. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Food is fuel, not pleasure. Stop thinking. And then I have over here, break the wall, limit inputs. And then other one is someone is waiting for you to inspire them. You may be thinking to yourself, you may think it's weird, you may think it's kind of cheesy, but really, whenever these positive things are around you, trust me when I say like you're gonna look at your life differently. You're not gonna see it as much as you're just like some bum who has nothing better to do, but rather you're gonna see that you have a mission and that you have to do this thing. Not that and not this idea of it's almost like a job, but rather it's something that's deep inside of you. It's a purpose. See, everybody can go to the gym. Everybody can start going to the gym. Everybody can start to make gains. But a problem with that comes along is that you still always have negativity. Just simply going to the gym isn't going to change your body dysmorphia. In fact, it might worsen it. This isn't to tell you not to go to the gym. This is to tell you that if you're going to work out to try and solve the problem that you have, it requires a mindset change as well. I talk about switching your identity. Now, this isn't really the same thing when it comes to the mindset, but it comes down to a lot of the beliefs that you have that you're gonna go into the mirror and you're gonna have a six pack, but then you're gonna be upset like, okay, well my arms aren't as big, or you may be like, or you may have a massive chest where you're like, my lats are kind of small. You don't want to have this. Have this mindset that you're always going to be growing and that you deserve it and that you can make this change. You need to stop having this mentality that you don't deserve it and that you're less than others. Because normally, if you actually look at it and you actually have a good mindset, you'll start to understand that these people who are ahead of you really are only ahead of you in one aspect. And that this gap that your mind came up with, it's not as big as you think it was. And the more you start to stay consistent, and the more you start to believe in yourself, that you know what, I can do this. And it could be on the in the form of putting it on your wall like how I do. Or it could be simply sitting to yourself and thinking, I can do this. Closing your eyes and thinking to yourself, I can do this. Someone's waiting for me to help them out. It could be that. The smallest practice is that could be the thing that's really helping you. So remember, like, we can have all of these habits, but what is the real reason why we started to do all of these things? We didn't just start self-improvement just to fill in our time. We started self-improvement because we wanted change. We wanted to feel better about ourselves. We got tired of listening to the influence of these guys who don't care about us. These guys who really don't care. We're tired of listening to this advice that, you should just live and be complacent your entire life. What did I tell you guys before that Benjamin Franklin said? That we bury so many people before they ever die. We don't want to live that life of being stagnant, of not making progress. We're not okay with that. But let me tell you that your mindset will define everything. That's all I have for you boys.